Hi. So today I wanted to talk about the idea of putting yourself first, and it's something that I think has a lot of stigma attached to it. People can view it as being an act of selfishness or taking away from others, but I feel like putting yourself first is actually one of the most beneficial, healing things you can do, obviously for yourself, but for everyone around you too. The whole idea of self-love and loving yourself first, self-care, making yourself happy before you're able to make others happy, that's all kind of the foundation. I don't see it as a selfish act because in order to give to the people around us and in our lives, we need to feel fulfilled. We need to make sure that we are happy and we have enough of that energy to give and relay to other people. We often fall into traps where we are self-sacrificial, where we deplete ourselves for the sake of others, and we end up run down and resentful and empty and frustrated. So I just wanted to go over some ways and concepts that I sort of cherish around the idea of putting myself first and taking care of myself first and what that actually looks like. So one of the most important ways I find that I can put myself first and hear myself to begin with is by giving myself this space and time to reflect. I've talked about this in a couple different videos, especially my video about connecting to your intuition. But I think our intuition is so important for us to tap into, and it's a lot like a muscle that we lose strength in if we don't practice it enough. We get so clouded by other people's perspectives and wishes and desires, not only for life in general, but for our lives. And we also look to what society believes, what we see in the media, and it's really, really hard to formulate our own truth. Even if we think we have, oftentimes if we really deconstruct those ideas and perspectives, we can see how much they've been molded. So making the time and space to find your own perspective in everything that's going on and find your own truths is so important. And one of the ways that I do that is by meditating. There's just something so nurturing and soothing about sitting with yourself. Your thoughts become more distant and your surroundings become more distant. You start to hear almost this whisper of something deeper. It's like people and, meditation apps often talk about this idea that there's always a clear sky above the clouds, like when we fly above the clouds in an airplane. And that's what it feels like in our soul and being when we tap in, is even if there's chaos and there's a storm and we feel like we can't connect to anything and we can't find clarity, eventually you come to a moment or space where you see yourself outside of that storm. And there's a calm, stable, confident voice that comes through, and it has an answer for everything. So after we've made space to figure out our own voice, the next step is to honor what our wants and needs are and what comes out of that voice, what comes out of that knowing, what sort of truths surface about the way we see the world, about ourselves, about what we want. Really honoring those things as if they were your personal Bible is so important and such a crucial way of putting yourself first. We question and scrutinize and doubt so much of what we want in life and so much of what we believe in. We look for like-minded communities and people to sort of validate our wants and needs. And if they're coming from a loving place, we know that these wants and needs are tied to our soul and our purpose and who we truly are deep down. And then making decisions based on those wants and needs is a way of honoring ourselves. So actually taking those things from your heart and mind and into reality. Decisions are something that we really struggle with. It's so difficult to make decisions, not for everybody. We don't like disappointing people. I don't like disappointing people. But what I've started to learn over time is that you have to make decisions for yourself. You can garner some opinions and perspectives from people around you and take them with a grain of salt. And actually making those decisions and putting them into action is like giving back to yourself. It's like the best gift you can give to your existence. When you do something that you've come up with, that you really want, that you decide to pursue despite whatever fears you have or feedback from people around you that might typically hold you back, there's such a rewarding, fulfilling feeling in that. It's like acknowledging your soul because it's there to begin with and it wants to come out. So if your soul is telling you that it really wants you to bake a cake because that's something you're really talented at, and maybe that's going to be a way that you make a living or an offering you have to the world. Once you start doing that and putting it into practice, you get so much joy and fulfillment and bliss out of it. But even in small ways, the decisions we make about whether to go out, whether to commit to something that someone's asking us to commit to, saying no or yes due to pressure is harmful to our soul and our being. We feel that betrayal when we don't listen to ourselves and we do something despite our better judgment. When we actually do put our foot down and we say yes or no and we honor what we actually need and want, we feel so much better for it in the long run. And it might be tough in the moment to take that stand and assert yourself that way, but your soul will thank you for it. And then when you do actually agree to the things that you truly want to do, you're going to be such a better, happier, more infectious presence. Another way of putting ourselves first is making our dreams a priority. It kind of relates to what I just said about like decisions and actions, but our dreams about who we want to be and what we want to accomplish in life are worth putting on a pedestal, are worth worshiping and thinking about and giving energy to as often as we can, so that we start to find these like little ways that we can cultivate them and put them into reality. Our dreams are like a gift from the ether. It's like a download we get, or this knowing or idea we get about something we want to chase and something we want to become. Our whole life here, even though we know so little about it, is about growth and expansion, and is about chasing the next thing. We accomplish something, maybe we're happy there for several years, and then inevitably we all go through growth spurts, we all go through changes. I often think about the idea of the Renaissance person who is capable of many, many talents and forms of expression and has many offerings for the world. That's something that I feel we're kind of tapping back into. And each step in your career or growth or way of being might lead you to your true iteration, like your true final iteration in this life. And it's always an uncomfortable transition. It's like shedding skin. You know, I can imagine that like a reptile shedding skin would feel very uncomfortable in that moment, but you get used to your new skin. And so does everybody else. That's wise advice that I've gotten from some caring friends lately. You often hear about celebrities and people who've accomplished great things talking about how they honored their dream, they chased their dream, it was all they thought about, they worked towards it for so many years despite people's thoughts and opinions. And you know, sometimes those dreams don't come to fruition, but that's okay. It's better to chase them and come to that realization, and it might bring you to something unexpected than it is to never chase that dream in the first place because you think it's hopeless and pointless. So another aspect of putting yourself first is being true to yourself. A big part of sensuality for me is this practice of tapping into all our different senses to figure out what we like and what brings us joy in this life. These are our modalities of feeling and experiencing the life that we're living. If we honor this palette or menu of all these things that we enjoy and we are true to it, that brings us so much joy and fulfillment as well. We talk so much about integrity towards other people, keeping our word, you know, fulfilling our promises, being truthful, being honest. But what about with us? You know, integrity towards ourselves and what our true nature is. Keeping promises we make ourselves. Allowing ourselves the space to be us. The final thing about putting yourself first is being your number one best friend and cheerleader, to give you advice when you need it, to give you guidance, to steer you in the right direction, to comfort you when you're down. It's a beautiful thing to share that with people in your life and with a partner, but fulfilling those needs for yourself first and then using their ways of supporting you as kind of a bonus to that, or an extra layer of energy, leaves you in a much better place where you have fulfilled yourself first, and then you have the energy and overflow to benefit the people around you. One of the best ways to be happy in a relationship where you are happy with the person is to make yourself happy first, and then make the other person happy by proxy, because the other person's going to be happy if you're happy. You get into trouble when you expect that person to fulfill all of your needs and be every single thing that you need in life. We have such a myriad of needs that so many different things can fulfill, so many different types of friends, people, family, experiences, romance. We need all these little things, but if they come from a place of need that's like empty, that is demanding something from these people that they may or may not be able to fulfill for us. If we look at our needs as something that we can take action on and we can fulfill, it's more from a place of want and desire. I would want and desire this kind of thing, or this kind of experience, or this kind of person. When they come around, it's like a bonus. But without it, I'm still okay. The reason I think it's so important to feel fulfilled in this way ourselves is that then we actually are a benefit to other people. We have enough energy of our own to give to other people. That's why I think that putting yourself first is actually a selfless act. We have to be the person that we're searching for. It's us at the end of the day. Growing up, when I was younger, I used to daydream all the time about the person that I wanted to be when I was older. And I haven't really felt myself coming into that person until very recently. And it's taken me like 30 plus years to get there. I just had this idea of this person who was confident and creative, and there were so many details to it that I can't even wrap my head around. But I realize now that it was just like, it's a deeper iteration of my soul that was speaking to me. And that's come through trying to be as honest and authentic with myself as possible, and making decisions that reflect that, and not suppressing the things I want and need, exploring who I truly am, because it's a never-ending journey. And I'm still imagining the person a few years ahead of me, but it's important to also acknowledge and appreciate where I'm at right now and have gratitude for that. So I hope this video somewhat helped with inspiring you to put yourself first. I hope you have a beautiful day. I have other YouTube videos that you can check out on my channel. I also have an Instagram account where I do a lot of writing, and I'm going to be working on some stuff soon, a podcast that I want to start that I'm very excited about, so I will definitely keep everyone posted on that as I'm continuing to put stuff out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.